Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom, in which we speak with small cap executives right after they put out important news. And if he's on the show, you know they put out important news. Sean Dollinger, founder of PlantX, trades on the CSC under VEGA, VEGA. For our friends in the US, PLTXF. And for our friends in Europe on Frankfurt under WNT1. Look, guys, we've talked about this. The paradigm shifting parabolic growth of plant-based foods and a plant-based lifestyle is unstoppable. In fact, I got my first delivery and I had lunch just a little while ago and I had their chocolate protein thing. It's unbelievable, the products. And we'll talk about that with Sean, but I'm a traditional Greek eating meat eater and I love these products. They're tasty, they're awesome. That's why the plant-based food market alone is expected to grow to about 75 billion by 2027. But PlantX going a step further, guys. They're the one-stop shop for everything plant-based, okay? The digital face of the plant-based community. So not just food, but meal delivery, products, pet foods, restaurant locator, even plant-based plants, all right? It's a huge business. What does that mean? It's translated into record revenue in December, 1.03 million. In January, record revenue again, 1.09 million. Sean, welcome back. Congratulations.
George, thanks for having us. Great seeing you again.
Hey, let's talk about today's revenue numbers. That's why we're here. This is no fluke because you cracked 1 million in December, and we talked to Julie after those ones. Now you're almost cracking 1.1. How are you guys able to hit these kind of numbers given the fact you just launched in April?
Yeah, exactly, George. You know, again, it goes back to the team, e-commerce expertise and the acceleration there. And we saw it again. I was actually pleasantly surprised because typically December is number one for e-commerce, right? And then normally you see a strong fall off January, February, and then you see a gradual climb starting in March. So to see us come out of the gate here in 2021 and actually beat December 2020 numbers, you know, as a standing ovation for our team. You know, it definitely, meant a lot.
Where are you guys? Look, you're up $60,000 just in January alone. Some of that is me and my order because we placed a big order. Where are you guys seeing a lot of the growth? And I know it's early, so everything's exploding, but where do you see the most of the growth coming from? Where's most of your success right now?
George, I've been in business for 20 years in e-commerce. I've invested in many different businesses. And when you go ahead and look at an acquisition, you ask for forecasts. And Katie and her team over at Bloombox absolutely crushed over there. So, you know, we owe a big thank you to her and her team over in the UK. That was the plant in PlantX. As you know, we made that acquisition. And
right.
When you have a VP who executes that way, you give them kind of carte blanche to keep going with that. And I don't know if you saw, but a week ago, we announced our expansion into Germany over there. So
I was just about to ask you that.
That whole vertical is accelerating. So why not invest more into something that we know that's working so well? So that was great acceleration. And as well, Live Marketplace in San Diego, they consistently keep increasing revenue every single month for us. And when that store finally launches mid-March, early April, we should see some really beautiful growth out of that sector as well.
There are a lot of new people who are watching because everybody, more and more people are looking at plant-based. They understand the paradigm shift. So there's no doubt even new investors here. Give us a 30-second overview on Bloombox, what that is, because you just talked about Bloombox expanded Germany. And then give us a 30-second on the location in San Diego, your flagship. So new investors really understand that you've got e-commerce going, you've got real live storefront going. Give us an overview.
Yeah, so Bloombox is a plant subscription company that was started 3.5 years ago by Katie, who was a psychologist, but saw the connection with plants. Quite remarkable what she's built over there. And we keep seeing that the plant subscription model keeps accelerating, so that's really what it's about. It's simply plants around the home. And Alex, our CMO, and I were speaking about this a few weeks back on how PlantX is so much more than just meal delivery or grocery or plants, it's a lifestyle. So 2 weeks ago, we actually put in for the application to trademark PlantX Lifestyle. And eventually we'll be introducing fitness, because that's what it all goes together. This incredible feeling in plant-based cosmetics, plant-based food for your pets. Everything out there goes into this whole beautiful, trend.
Yeah, it was a niche, right? It was a niche maybe a couple of years ago. Oh, I remember I did my first plant-based bowl in downtown Toronto. They had to drag me. I was like, nah, just give me some Greek food. I did it. I loved it. But, it took me 2 years longer to finally start ordering from you guys. And that's just going to repeat. So look for your February numbers to be up again, just because the Cholas household.
Well, that's what I've noticed also, George, right? The basket size in my previous businesses in e-com for the last 19 years, let's call it, this year being 2021. It was one-off sales or a little bit of recurring. Here, somebody comes, orders our meal delivery, like yourself. Wow, this is good. Let me go check out their grocery section. Wow, this is amazing plants. So the basket size is enormous. And you mentioned when we started this vodcast today on your show that, this market is a $25 billion market. But I actually tell people it's actually $1 trillion market, because PlantX's approach is, who cares if you're not 100% plant-based or vegan? You're welcome to come. So every single person right now in North America is a potential client of ours,
Absolutely. It's not like I've switched to vegan. I'm still Greek. I eat lamb. I do all that stuff, but 2-3 times a week, I want a really powerful, protein packed, healthy, plant-based, food, right? Meal. And are you seeing, that's why I mentioned earlier, it was a niche a couple of years ago. How are you seeing, because you've always had your thumb on the pulse of these things, plus you got your e-commerce data that you're seeing. Are you seeing a real switch now to everyday people who didn't consider plant-based foods or lifestyle even 12 months ago?
To answer that, George, I've been on a plant-based journey for the last 10 years. I've lost 60 pounds, 30% of my body weight. 10 years ago, terrible anxiety, wasn't in the greatest space as far as physically. And I can't explain to you how I feel now. So the reason why we originally founded PlantX was to give people a longer, healthier, better quality of life on the planet, right? And then to, not to long when the reply to your question, but if we go back to March of 2020, when COVID hit, everybody started this shift into, hey, how can I take better care of myself? What do I need to do to get there? What's on everybody's top of their mind is this whole plant-based movement, being vegan, going through that journey. So that's where we've seen this gradual increase through 2020. And I absolutely see no end in sight. And I think our January numbers prove that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I'm not going to actually make a projection. I know you can't. But do you have any doubt that 12 months from now, you went from zero basically to 1 million in less than a year? Do you have any doubt that 12 months from now, next February, when you and I are talking again, we're going to see another jump by several magnitudes in the growth of the company?
Yeah, there's no doubt, right? Through acquisitions, through our own verticals increasing. Absolutely, George. There's, again, no slowdown in sight. It's one thing if we remained flat or anything of that nature, but even Bloombox pre-COVID, $3 million, post-COVID, $8 million, and working together with the PlantX team, we don't see why we can't go through 20 million this year, right? So, and again, that's just one little vertical in our whole ecosystem.
Yeah, that's a scary, great part about it.
Yeah,
that's a scary. So look, one great sign of validation, one is customers reordering and revenues on the rise. So we got that. But another one is attracting great people, right? Because great people have a lot of people ask them to join their organizations, and they got to be careful about where they spend their time. And you've attracted some amazing people. The last one you attracted that you announced was Jose Abo, who you named as a chairman of your advisory team. And for those people at home who don't know about the release, he was a former chairman of Panama's $1.5 billion sovereign wealth fund, amongst other things that he's done. This is a major hitter. What does it say about PlantX that you're able to attract someone like Jose Abo to become chairman of the advisory team?
George, we see it across the board, right? Even from our leadership, CEO Julia Frank leaving BMW corporate to start this startup with us, right? Being like, oh my God, this whole plant-based movement, and she's done an incredible job. And then, like you just mentioned, Mr. Abo, we constantly are getting people who want to join this whole PlantX movement. And I don't know if you know this, George, but we also have a medical advisory board. And on it, we have Dr. Tom Burden. Dr. Tom Burden is leading, cardiologist, head of surgery at Stanford University, right? This is one of the most prestigious universities in all of the United States, if not the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Stanford, baby.
And he joins PlantX advisory board, right? And each person on that team is extremely unique and top class in their field. And it should show you the type of people that we are drawing here, George, that they do see what PlantX stands for. They see what the whole plant-based movement stands for. And we've all joined together to create something that people could only dream of.
Yeah, for everyone at home doing your due diligence, you got a lot of parts of this moving machine to do your due diligence on. But I would ask you to go take a look, and I can't remember the date of the day that Mr. Abo was appointed chairman of the advisory team, because they also list who else is on there on the advisory team, and then also take a look who's on the medical advisory team, because that's just a powerful validation of what this company's doing. Great people are putting the name behind the company. They believe in the product. And again, I believe in it more than, Sean and I are friends. We're way beyond being vendor client here and things like that. And if the products weren't good, I would have told them off camera. I'd say, look, they weren't good. I'm not ordering. I won't mention it, but I love them. I put my name to them. Sean, you're also done a couple of really cool things. You're growing like a big company. You're making acquisitions. You're bringing on global superstars, like we just said. We mentioned a couple of them onto the advisory team, but you're also doing a couple of cool things. One, a collaboration with Farm Cup Coffee, right? They're a little hip, cool retail brand that a lot of us don't know about in West Hollywood. So what is about that collaboration that, complements you guys and brings extra opportunities and value to the table?
We have this phenomenal PR company, Jack Taylor. And as you know, George, we do our vodcast every Monday for your viewers, whoever wants to watch. We do it at 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel. And we had our PR team, and they really fell in love with our story. And they just reached out to their contacts. And one of them was Farm Coffee, right? And Diego, who kind of put it together, who's a really unique entrepreneur. He has a show as well, and loved his energy. And they wanted to come for PlantX to come in and curate the whole selection of plants around the store with an interactive wall on education. At the end of the day, what I tell everybody, Apple, Tesla, they didn't start their showrooms as sales floors. They started it as education centers. That's the only way Apple was able to take away market share from a dominating force like Microsoft, who controlled the home operating system. Tesla had to go ahead and take away market share from technology that's been around for X amount of years, right? And it was teaching people on why their products were better. I see plant-based living the same, Even people in some of the top restaurants that I go to, I say I'm plant-based living, and they'll still bring milk to the table. They'll still bring cheese to the table. They don't quite comprehend what a plant-based lifestyle is. And if that's them, can you imagine how many others don't know? So we feel if we could bring people in, and instead of them thinking that it's just some types of bread and pasta, and yeah, sure, I could be plant-based, but it's not going to be that healthy, showing them that there's so much more to it, that these flavors that you could try and experience could actually taste better than what they have been enjoying their whole life. That's what really gets us going. And that's really what's behind this store concept that you see, where we take very little risk, we go in, educate, and it could expand into something so much greater.
And this is where your experience, for everyone at home, where your experience in e-commerce, understanding tech, understanding paradigm shifts comes in so handy, because how many people would think that way, right? Where, hey, let's just partner up with a location where we can educate and show and demonstrate product, not necessarily have to focus on selling just yet. I think that's a genius move. Do you think other moves like that are going to take place? Because, America's a big place. So I got to figure, LA, New York, Chicago, it's all on the table. Only a matter of time till you start doing the same things around the country.
George, we're a no fluff company, right? There's tons of companies out there that just go ahead and press release anything, from non-binding LOIs to contracts that are just in talks. Our counsel is very strict, from even bringing in Mr. Abbo for compliance purposes. Whatever we press release is a definitive agreement typically. And all I can tell you is, if it doesn't show you just from August 2020, when we went public, sitting here with a market cap of already over $120 million, with $7 million cash in treasury, absolutely no debt, 2 acquisitions closed in our first 4 months. Believe me, we have not stopped. And what we have lined up for 2021 makes it look like we were sleeping in 2020. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you ask, obviously we can't disclose much, but just rest assured, we've went ahead and there's going to be some incredible things coming out.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you're taking the same approach as you did with your massive success in e-commerce. You saw that it was a massive trend for a decade. So I would think that you guys have got a plan, and you've got a plan in place for plant-based lifestyle for the decade, because it's going to capture the entire world's attention. And you're not going to have any choice but to grow for all that time. So I can't wait to see what you guys keep coming out with. Last part, I really like this. I'm going to read the headline. PlantX announces charitable partnership with After School All-Stars. That's an interesting partnership. It's for students throughout the U.S. What's the goal there?
George, we wanted to connect. PlantX stands for the better good of the earth, right? And this seemed like a great partnership, taking care of children, right? When people get a little bit older, sometimes hard to change habits, or, everybody's kind of got their own way. That's why we work so hard at PlantX to educate. But we wanted to do something that really benefits, the young generation and what we stand for. And I'll tell you, as soon as we added it to our website, which our technology team did a phenomenal job led by Athar, who got it all working, and on every single checkout, that opportunity is there. A big thank you to our customers who are super generous, already adding on checkout. We go ahead and every month we send that money over. But for your viewers, our investors, our shareholders to understand what it really means, and that I'm really into making sure our events are properly done with a little bit of extra pizzazz to them. Our AGM comes up here February 26th at 1 p.m. And we're going to be doing a little bit of an after party at 2 p.m., kind of like a shareholder investor appreciation. We have some really big announcements, some great entertainment. And on top of that, we have a little something going ahead with presenting what After School All-Stars is all about. So we encourage everybody to come watch that.
Yep. Put in your calendars, guys. You heard it. Trust me, be there. Sean knows how to Sean knows how to build a company, build the brand, but he also knows how to make it fun and put on a nice show along with it. Hey, by the way, I almost forgot to mention, but I was really happy to see that you formed a partnership. I don't know if I want to call it partnership, but you're in business with our client, Else Nutrition, on the plant-based toddler foods. Congratulations on that, because I think that's a groundbreaking product, and it's amazing that you guys are carrying it now.
Yeah, right after our vodcast, they were actually approved like the next day for Canada. So we look forward to bringing that product in Canada, as well as you guys know over at Agoracom. We went ahead and announced our Tel Aviv location coming up here the second part of 2021. And obviously, we'd love to carry their products there as well.
Sean, thanks for joining us today. You're always great when you do these things. The best part that comes through is your unconditional confidence. And we've seen you build in the past, and we're watching you do it again. So, man, I'm excited about PlantX Life and where you guys are going to go. And thanks for taking out the time today to share that with everybody.
Thanks, George. And as I love to wrap up all of our vodcasts, stay curious, stay planted, stay healthy. Cheers.
Cheers. For everyone at home, you've been watching or perhaps you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, or your favorite platform to Sean Dollinger. He's the founder of PlantX Life, trades on the CSC on the stock symbol VEGA, VEGA. For our friends in the US, PLTXF, and for our friends in Europe on Frankfurt under WNT1. Plant-based food market going to $75 billion by 2027. I think that's going to get better because that's today's estimates. I think that's only going to get bigger. And you heard what Sean said earlier. Eventually, this is going to $1 trillion at the end of the day. And I don't doubt that given the trends that are going on. You got to do your due diligence. 2 ways to do that. Get to Agoracom. We know plant-based foods and lifestyles new to a lot of you. So the hub for PlantX Life has a great profile page to kind of break this all down and show you guys all the different parts of the company. But then get over to the company's website. Take a look at the amazing products. Take a look at everything you have there. And the best due diligence you can do, I think, is order some product. I'm not trying to get you guys to buy, and this isn't some elaborate scheme, but we ordered it for our family. We did our first order, brought a great box. Everybody loved it. We're repeating. And I think if you do that, that's why your best due diligence. Don't say we didn't tell you so 12 months from now. Have a great day. See you next time.